I saw it destroy my confidence, my bank account, my mental health. That's just a snippet. I'd say that's how to sum it up, really. Still managed to lose £7,000. F it, let's just use all my life savings and invest. Because, you know, what am I gonna lose? Void of hopelessness, of I'm such a failure, all because my why wasn't strong enough, my vision wasn't strong enough.
Direct Selling Association, or DSA, is a lobbying organization. You're taught to look only to people who have what you want. Like, all my relationships were like, how can I make money from you? You're gonna double down and spend even more because you have to make it work. And so
What makes a real business? Not lying, but they're not showing the whole truth either. Hello and welcome to my channel. Today's video is slightly different and I'm going to be talking about my experience with MLMs. This is a topic that needs to be talked about more often, and I am very scared to put this out there because you knew me on my social media while I was doing this, I suddenly stopped posting about it and I just didn't acknowledge it, and I thought I would never acknowledge it until a few nights ago I was having a conversation with someone who started the same MLM at the same time as me last year, and I realised how much of an impact it still has on her. And I thought to myself, I have seen everywhere how devastating MLMs are, and I realised that not enough people are really talking about it, people who have personally experienced it. This is going to be broken up into kind of three parts. The first part is going to be my personal experience, the second part is going to be other people's experiences, and the third part is going to be purely factual statistics, everything like that. So that's what you can expect from this video / podcast. Oh god. So, disclaimer, this first part is my personal experience. I'm not blaming anybody for what happened to me, but I need to make people aware of the truth. This experience has served a purpose in my journey and I'm grateful for it, but people do need to hear both sides of this story from someone who was obsessed in making this work and somebody who is now seeing both sides of the story. Whether you're in an MLM, you're considering it, or if you're just curious around this topic. I'm not saying MLMs are good or bad, it's your decision to make. So let's start with what an MLM is, just to get this out there. An MLM, if I'm looking down, it's because I'm reading off my screen. MLM is multi-level marketing, that's what it stands for. And according to the Federal Trade Commission, MLM companies sell their products or services through person-to-person sales, and this means you're selling directly to other people, maybe from your home, from customers' home, or online. If you join an MLM program, the company may refer to you as an independent distributor, participant, or contractor, but most MLMs say you can make money in two ways: by selling MLM retail products to customers who are not involved in the MLM, or you can make money by recruiting other people and new distributors and earning commission based on what they buy and their sales to other customers as well. But that's out of the way. This is my experience and my story. I saw it destroy my confidence, my bank account, my mental health. That's just a snippet. I'd say that's how to sum it up, really. So I'm putting my ego aside. I really don't want to make this episode, but like it's important to get both sides of the story out there. People aware of MLMs and how damaging they really can be. So my story. So back in May 2020, college ended, COVID hit, college sort of stopped, we had to stay home, lockdown. So I was at home, I did an art business, I was selling commissions about my art pieces and it was amazing. I really enjoyed it until, I hit a point where if you start doing a passion as work, I started to hate painting and I looked for what I could do. I was very confused, I was kind of in a slow depression cycle downwards of like, what am I going to do with my life? Where do I want to go? What am I doing? What are my options? I don't want to go to uni. I don't really want to do any of the standard routes. And so I was like, I've always liked the idea of creating something bigger than me and making a really positive difference in the world. And I came across an opportunity and this was Monat. This was the company at first, and at first the distributor, she reached out to me on Facebook because I posted in a vegan Facebook group like, I don't have vegan ethical hair products because I'm vegan myself. I was like, where can I find some? Does anyone have any suggestions? And this woman, she reached out to me saying, I have a company for you that you can look at, and yeah, you can buy through me, and it's gonna be, yeah, like these really good products. I was like, okay, cool. I looked at the products, they were highly expensive compared to like, you know, the standard hair care products, you know, like £5, but these were like 20 up to £40 for just one product. It did go up to around £70, and I was like, no, I don't want it, not interested, thank you, but no. And then she said, you know, there's a business opportunity as well, and I was like, what? Business opportunity? What's that? I haven't heard of this before. I had no idea, absolutely no idea about online business, MLMs. I had no idea what the heck they were. And so I was like, this is so cool. This is like the opportunity I've been waiting for. I can make money online selling vegan hair products. Like, sounds amazing. And well, I'm not even really going to go into this one because it's not the most impactful, but that was my foot in the door to MLMs. And with this, I actually backed out after like 3 weeks because I made pretty much no sales. I was putting my whole energy, my whole being into this business, and I was like, what's the point? Like, I'm not making any sales, and the sales I did make, I made like £1 commission. It's like, realistically, why would I want to keep doing this? And I thought it was my fault. Everyone was saying, you know, you didn't work hard enough, you just need to reach out to some more people. And I was just like, look, I've done everything, I don't want to do it anymore. And so I just cut that. And then it was around, I want to say June, it was around June 2020 that I went into a Facebook group, and it was a mindset Facebook group. And honestly, the mindset stuff, the workshop, it was very, very good. I really enjoyed it. I learned quite a lot of things in there. But at the end of this workshop, they pitched to everybody in this Facebook group, this is a
magic. You can make money online selling water machines for people's health, for the wellness, everything. Like, everybody needs water. You can sell to anybody.
And I was like, this sounds interesting, but the products are like $5,000, maybe not. And so I sort of backed out of that one. I didn't really go much further with it for a few months. I said with this business that I can change people's lives, which is true, but it goes both ways. The water is powerful, yes, and it can change people's health to an extent. And I do believe in like the science behind the water. I love the product, but it's just the business I do not like. And it can help with health, but if you're like selling this business opportunity to people, that's where it gets nasty, because the cold hard truth is that you're kind of preying on vulnerable people and selling the hope that you can sell these machines, and people have lost thousands. And yes, if you're selling the machine for its health benefits, I think that's totally fine. But if you're selling this machine with, I don't know, like an 80% emphasis on the business, I don't think that's right, personally. I had the promise of abundance, and it was on me if I didn't sell. It was my fault, and they can't help you. Yeah. So I bought a platform membership. I'm not going to name the platform. I'm not going to name any names apart from the MLM was Enagic. So I bought platform membership, and this costed like £70. It was a training platform, and yeah, I ended up backing out of that one too. It was very corporate, forceful, and I didn't like it. And I don't know if I got a refund. I think I went past the refund stage. But I was still interested in the water. I was still interested in health and wellness and how to improve my health because I had IBS, which is irritable bowel syndrome, and I had a bunch of health issues, and the water has helped me with that, and thank God. But like, I was still interested, that's the point. And then I found another platform which was more positive, it seemed less forceful, and I joined that one, and I started talking to a girl about it. I'm not going to name any names, and she was very kind and knew how I felt. She knew how I was feeling and really could get into my pain points, which is very good marketing, you know, very good sales tactics of you getting into the pain points of people. Like, it's very obvious, and everybody who is into sales knows you have to hit the pain points. And I do not blame this girl, I will not name her, but I was sold to by her. And I was looking at all these training platforms, the videos, the compensation plan, and it's all so confusing. You have no idea, like, it's so confusing, taking in all this information, all these numbers, how much money you can make, this roadmap, what to do, how you can sell, everything. And I was 18 and I had no idea about marketing, sales. I was like, this is a whole new world.
Fantastic point of view. Not quite.
It makes you go, wow, you can make so much money from it, and you genuinely can. Like, if you make sales, you can make a lot of money doing Enagic and MLMs. It's like a no-brainer. Like, why would I not take this opportunity? You know, I could make freaking millions doing this. Like, why would I not take it? No one could tell me, absolutely nobody. My parents, my family, my friends, they were all saying, Georgia, isn't this a pyramid scheme? I was like, no, it's not a pyramid scheme, you kidding me? I was like, this is the best thing ever. I'm gonna do it no matter what. I am so humiliated to make this episode and video, but it's needed. It's needed. And yeah, it destroyed my confidence. I thought something was wrong with me. I really did. I thought something was wrong with me, and that I couldn't sell, and that I was a failure at life, and that I'll never make money ever, because this is what happens when you try to be an entrepreneur. And my mental health, honestly, it was so bad. It was so bad. It was one of the darkest times of my life last year, and I didn't post about it because I wanted to appear like perfect on social media, which is the bad thing. That's the bad thing, because people don't know really the reality of what you're going through on social media. But now, like, for sure, I literally say everything, as in, like, I show the bad and the good on my social media. It's all about, like, realizing social media is really fake a lot of the time, and you need to question everything you see on social media. Like, is this, like, literally just question it. Like, oh my god, it's so important to just question things in life. Literally so important. I was not telling the whole truth. No, I'm gonna look into the cameras. I was not telling the whole... I was not telling the whole picture. And the people who I was traveling with, they couldn't understand what I was doing, and I would even... Oh god. I would try and sell to everybody I knew. I would try to sell to everybody. I would tell everybody about this, and it's so irritating. It's so irritating. Honestly, I'm like literally annoying myself right now by talking about it. But that's what you have to do. You have to tell everybody. You have to message 100,000 people a year to make some sales, you know. And oh my gosh, I'm not going to expose what happens in the group chats, in the calls. There's plenty of videos online to show like what goes on in but I never saw the other side of the story. I always got people's perspectives on who are in the business and who believe in it wholeheartedly, and I avoided Google. I did not want to research the company because I was scared of what I would find, of like, this is an MLM, this is a pyramid scheme, like, you're going to lose your money. I didn't want to know that. I genuinely didn't want to know that. It's a way to get out of the rat race of society, the 9-to-5s, and I thought it was too good to be true, but I was sold anyway. And they call it a business, but it's not, and I will get onto that later with the statistics. But they also said to buy a quad or a trifecta, and to bump up your business, to get ranking so you can make more money faster. So they say apparently everybody on this planet needs this machine, and you can sell to anybody who drinks water. And I was like, great, absolutely fantastic. I have the world in my hands. Everybody needs water. Let's go sell this machine. And I'd find like around 90% of people in MLMs in general are posting about freedom, travel, and money. And it is toxic positivity because it's not the reality. Like, there isn't just one side to life of abundance and money. There is struggles too, and there is debt too. And I tried every day. I tried every day for 6 months straight to make a sale. I'm not even kidding you with how much effort I put into this. I researched science. I tried to go down that route because the business opportunity just didn't sit well with me. It felt nasty. And not because I'm opposed to sales. I think sales is an important part of life. You know, you sell every time you're talking with your friends about, oh my gosh, like, which restaurant do I want to go to? You know, you're selling them this restaurant, if that makes sense. Like, sales is everywhere. And my intuition was actually right, and I just didn't listen to it, really. And I'm not saying this is everyone's case. Like, some people do find real success in MLMs, but I didn't. And I tried everything they said to try. I tried absolutely everything. I went on every team call and training session. I felt so much pressure for myself, and to make this sale, to make just one sale, and I forced it so much. And while I was traveling, I was in the most disconnected place in my life that I think I've ever felt. Instead of being present with like the amazing people I met traveling, and honestly, I met such amazing people, and I would just prioritize working on my business over being with them. I decided to work on this business instead of being present with these people because I was so desperate. I was so desperate to make this work. I was like, this has to work. I invested £6,000 into this. I had to make it work. And I had so many breakdowns during this time trying to force this, like reading so many books, journaling all the time. And that's fine. It's fine to journal, it's fine to read books, but the fact is I was forcing it, and I really did hit rock bottom. I was binge eating every day. I thought I'd failed, and I didn't. These schemes often are built to fail. And I was starting to question the whole thing, like really seriously, in October 2020, because I mean, I turned 19 in October last year, and I was in Bulgaria, and at that moment in time, I didn't have any friends around me because I just moved to a new place, and the people who were in that place had gone out for the day, and there was not room in the car, so I just stayed at the retreat centre that I was staying at and working at. I did work away, and I just cried the whole day because I just felt so alone. I felt like I was failing in life. I felt so confused, and I was like, this is no way to spend my birthday, but I just didn't know what to do with myself, and I was so unhappy. And up until that point, I really ignored my unhappiness, but you know, you gotta keep going, you only fail if you give up, sort of thing. My journal, honestly, is full of law of attraction, like scripting of like, I'm 4A, I'm 5A, I'm 6A, and like really trying to embody this and getting to like these ranks, these levels. And law of attraction is like an actual law, you know, but they sometimes exploit it as like another sales thing to kind of make people interested in it, I guess. And it works. It really does work. And yeah, some people, they made me feel bad. They say, you get out of it what you put in. But I honestly put in everything. I put in my money, my time, my energy, my freaking mental health, everything into this. I was like, I need to get a job. Like, I'm not making any money from this. I need to get a job. How am I going to survive? And literally, another thing they say is getting a 9-to-5 is like the worst thing you can do. Like, you're literally selling your soul to like the devil if you get a 9-to-5. And I was like, okay, right, I cannot get a 9-to-5. Like, no way, I'm not selling my soul to the devil. I'm not getting a 9-to-5. I'm not getting a real job. I want to be an entrepreneur. But actually getting a job can be super beneficial. Like, the skills you can gain from getting a job or an apprenticeship can be really valuable. like really valuable, and you can get connections and skills and what you truly want out of life. I'm not really blaming the people who are in MLMs because they genuinely think it's the right thing to do. And I thought it was the right thing to do, but I didn't make a sale. And I think that was because deep down, like really deep down, I knew this could ruin someone's life. And because the people who buy into MLMs are often people who have lost their jobs, are students who don't know what they're doing, are people just trying to make money really quick online, people who like travel, health, spirituality, and I just didn't feel right doing it. They say put it on a credit card, you know, get loans, you've got to believe, you've got to trust the universe that you will make the money back. And I thought I did. I believed I could do it. I believed with my whole being that I could make my money back. I really did, honestly I did. And I was trying to copy what everyone else was doing, and deepest, darkest time, I just remember it so vividly. I was on calls with people just asking for help, like, how can I make this work? I need to make this work. I was consulting on sales calls, like not me being selling, but going on to people who are sales consultants, marketing specialists, like, how can I make this work? And they're like, you can't, because the people you need to sell to, if I was you, I would be cold calling everybody up in an area who is really rich and just saying, you need this water machine, like, I'll come and fit it for you. And I was like, but that's not what they say in these training platforms. And he was just like, you know, that's the way I would do it. I'm just giving you what I would do as someone who has been an entrepreneur for many years. That's what I would do. I'd create a cold calling network and just cold call all the time, and that's how I'd make sales. And I was like, but no, but you have to be authentic, you have to be, you know, aligned, and you have to make... The amount of sales calls I went on, and honestly I was just making such a fool of myself trying to sell this, and it's really embarrassing. Oh my god, it's so embarrassing. I genuinely do love this product, I do, just not the scheme that comes with it. The machines are $5,000, which is almost £400, I believe, and the only way to sell it is to sell the business opportunity, really, because you have to make a team, you have to get people under you to get those ranks, to hit those sales, because you can make direct sales, you can make 100 direct sales and get to the ranks, but you can make 4 direct sales and they make indirect sales under you, and for you to get to the ranks. It's honestly so confusing. They make it confusing for a reason. And yeah, it's just unlikely someone would buy this machine if there was no business opportunity attached to it. There are machines out there which are just as good, and they try to say that there isn't, but there is. This is me editing, and I feel like I have missed out a lot of stuff. So I'm gonna add in some more now before we get on to any more of the video. There were red flags, definitely, but there were red flags and I was so skeptical, but I kind of just looked through it because my gut feeling wasn't strong enough. I wanted this lifestyle so bad, and I would just do anything to get it. They were saying get loans, get credit cards, and on these training platforms and the distributors, they recommend getting credit cards, get loans, and I just wanted to do anything in my power I could to get the money to invest. And eventually I was just like, F it, let's just use all my life savings and invest, because, you know, what am I gonna lose? I'm going to gain so much more money, like, this is a no-brainer. And that's scary because I wanted this life so bad that I just did it, and I just didn't take time to look at the other side of the story and the facts behind it, behind the company, what other distributors are saying, the income disclosure statements. I just didn't want to hear it. I wanted this to be true. And it's just a lot of money to be throwing around, and for every day, for like these distributors to just kind of be throwing around in MLMs, especially this one in particular because it is a high ticket sale. A life that everybody dreams of having, especially if you're not liking your job right now, or you're a student who's in debt, confused, not know what they want to do in life. It's very appealing. And like, they always talk about kind of like, there's talk about spirituality and health and abundance and mindset, and it's essentially sort of selling a dream life through a one-sided story. They're not lying, but they're not showing the whole truth either. If they gave the full picture of what it takes to make a lot of money, I don't really think that a lot of people would invest. There's also this thing that's called Ukon, which is also part of it as why it's mainly based around the money side, is this Ukon supplement. Granted, it's very good for your health, but it's like a hack in the MLM system, in this MLM in particular. It's a hack in the system to make more money. And I'm not too sure around the numbers because I never bought it because I didn't have enough money, otherwise I definitely would have bought it. But it's around $900 every 4 months, and people have stacks and stacks of this Ukon supplement because of the hack. To make more money, they have to keep repurchasing it to get this hack. But 2020, I was in Spain, and this was a point where COVID was getting quite bad in Spain and everything was locked down, and so I was in the house a lot of the time. You couldn't really go out, and my mental health sort of reached a breaking point, and that was the start of the end. And I was so alone, like not just physically alone, but just mentally so alone. And I was feeling even more isolated because I couldn't speak to my friends because I'd lost my friends along the way with this MLM, because I thought they were beneath me. I thought they didn't understand, they didn't have this mindset. And so I was like, I don't want this toxic negativity in my life, because they were trying to tell me, you know, this is not right, and I didn't want to hear it. And so I'd lost a lot of my old college friends because they didn't agree with me, and that's so sad. And I just felt so alone. I couldn't talk to my parents. I drove my parents absolutely pretty much out of my life because I needed to solo travel to get away from my parents, who were telling me, you need to stop doing this Enagic stuff, this MLM, you need to stop doing it and go to uni. And I was like, the only way I can do this is if I move out, essentially. So I didn't really move out, but I went solo traveling, and that was a big part of why I went solo traveling. Obviously there were so many more parts to it, like I wanted to explore. I love traveling, but it made me feel the need to go solo traveling as soon as possible. And God, I was so depressed and hopeless, just this void of hopelessness of I'm such a failure and I have not made this work, it's all on me, I've lost all this money, all because my why wasn't strong enough, my vision wasn't strong enough, I couldn't sell to people, and it was horrible. I was like, am I ever gonna like make it any in life? Like, if I can't even make this work, like what am I gonna do? I was like, I just don't know what to do. And I was just, remember sitting at the table in Spain while my housemate, she was out, and I was just in tears. I was like in tears a lot of the time actually at this point. And I was just like, heavens, earth, universe, give me a sign, tell me what I need to do. Because the people who I kind of converse with on social media through these platforms, WhatsApp group chats, they genuinely think they're doing the right thing, and so I don't blame them for it because they believe the lies themselves. And I almost sold it to somebody who is now one of my best friends, and I am so glad I didn't sell it to her, because she only didn't jump in because she didn't have enough money at the time to invest. And if she had got a credit card, got a loan, she would be so in debt, and that would have been my fault, and I just don't know how I would have been able to live with myself. And I don't think that the people who are distributors, like, as I've said, they're not bad people. They think what they're doing is right. However, their top 1% could need to use manipulative tactics to get to where they are now. because they know that not everyone is going to be successful with this. And I'm saying this because there are income disclosure statements online from the FTC. The income disclosure statements are directly from the companies. And I mean, I've talked to people who have been previously in MLMs and shown them the facts, shown them the case studies, the income disclosure statements directly from this MLM, and they still try to argue back and defend the company. And I just think it's really sad because the facts are there, but they're so deep in it that they think, I don't know what's going on in their head, honestly. But it doesn't always ruin people's lives. I'm not saying if you get into an MLM it's going to ruin your life, because that's not the case. Some people get out really quickly after like a few weeks. They're like, okay, this is not for me, let's just step back. But it depends which MLM you go for, because Enagic specifically are very, very high ticket, and a lot of MLMs are very low ticket. And what I mean by that is the products are very, very expensive compared to, you know, £20 shampoo. And it has the potential to ruin someone's life in their mental state and relationships, as well as the monetary aspect of it, because they bombard you with mindset. And they, in my personal experience, they have told me to ignore everybody who isn't following that vision, who doesn't understand MLMs and how this wasn't even an MLM. Apparently Enagic isn't an MLM according to a lot of people, but it clearly is if you look at the definition of a multi-level marketing. And so they say to ignore everyone, don't take their advice if they don't agree with your visions, your views. And so I drove my parents away, and a lot of my old college friends unfollowed me. It was just a very toxic place in my life. Of my friends who I have met through this MLM, who I've talked to since, like, creating this podcast, I did reach out to a couple of people saying, like, look, I'm making this podcast, I don't want it to be anything against you, like, I appreciate you as a friend. And she didn't quite understand where I was coming from, and was just like plain saying, I just disagree with everything you're saying. And I showed her facts and figures and definitions, and just wasn't getting through. And she also said that I didn't have like the emotional and mental understanding to see that my vision and my why wasn't strong enough. And she has been in this MLM for around a year and has made one sale the whole time. She's hanging onto this dream, this vision, and it's so sad to see, because when we go later on into the facts, I will share about the history of why MLMs are still going on and that why they're so unregulated. It's very, very interesting. What I learned from this experience is, one, listen to your gut. If someone seems like they're showing toxic positivity, fake kindness, over the top kindness, just trust your gut. Like, question, like, why, what's going on, what's really going on here. Trust your gut. The second is to do your research. Do your research around the company, the income disclosures, everything around it. Just do research around both sides, because I know how easy it can be to get sucked in to these lies of abundance, freedom, absolute financial freedom, and not want to see the other side. But it's so important to look at other sides of the story. And if you see the other side and think, okay, like, this looks okay, go for it. But you just need to look at both sides of the story. And I feel like there's another thing. I just learned about my guess, the fact that everything you do has consequences. It's just like to take kind of responsibility and say when you have done something wrong, and to kind of set your ego aside, which is what I'm doing in this whole kind of entire podcast / video, is just setting my ego aside and saying, look, I'm sorry, I messed up. and I messed my life up as well too. And yeah, just to admit when you're wrong, I guess, is so important. Just being a decent human being and not preying on other people who are vulnerable, and just telling the whole truth. I think it's so important. And yeah, let's get on to the rest. But yes, be very careful. Like, genuinely be very careful with what you decide to do with your time, your money, your energy. You cannot get back time. You can always get back money, but obviously it's detrimental for your mental health if you are losing loads and loads of money and feeling like you're a failure.
So I joined 2 different network marketing opportunities, or MLMs. I joined both of them for the products that were available in the companies. And to be quite honest, I still use them, even though I'm disillusioned from the actual business model. The first one, I was starting my PhD, and I was really nervous. In my master's degree, I had I had a reoccurrence of mono when I was going through it, and I was afraid that I would get sick again because I was trying to balance my full-time job and my PhD. And so I really just joined to have a better deal on the fruit and vegetable capsules was the first one. And then the second one, I actually was diagnosed with Crohn's disease. In November of 2018. And so I was basically told at 25 that I was going to be on anti-inflammatory medication for the rest of my life, for ways to heal my gut. My upline from my first network marketing company had just switched to a different company that was electrolyzed reduced water. And she was talking to me about the health opportunities with that and the support for Crohn's disease and other gastrointestinal autoimmune diseases. And so I was like, okay, well, I'm interested in one of those machines, as well invest in the business too.
I'm guessing you chose this product over one that hasn't got a business opportunity attached to it, right?
Yeah, and I think I also, I knew the person that recruited me into both of those, at least on the perimeter. I went to college with her brother, and so I knew it wasn't somebody random selling me anything. It was like, oh, this person's taking an interest in the fact that I'm having trouble finding ways to keep myself healthy, and they were having a conversation with me. And so for me, it was very much like I have a personal tie to this person and they're trying to help me. And so I think that was a big piece for me that what drew me into that. So the idea of a business as being a part of it was definitely enticing. I was seeing how much money they were making and was like, oh, maybe I could be good at that.
Kind of situation before investing? I know a lot of people can get into debt doing the MLMs, but I'm guessing that doesn't sound like quite the case for you.
For me, I did use a credit card on the second one, but I had all the money that was going on that credit card in my savings. So had a very good, stable job that I was continuously putting into that savings. So I didn't feel that financial strain.
How has your experience been as a whole? I'm not too sure what the company, you don't have to mention them if you don't want to, but how's your experience been with both of the companies?
Yeah, so it's interesting reflecting back on it because I have a different perspective than when I was fully in it.
Yeah.
I think the first company that I was a part of very much felt like I didn't fit in because it felt more like it was geared towards women who had kids, who were doing something on the side, who were stay-at-home moms, or who were fitness moms, kind of that, because it was shakes and supplements and stuff. And I did go to a conference which was after my upline left, and I was the only one who showed up from her team. So I had already paid for it. So I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna go. And I went to only a couple days of it. It was in California and I really wanted to go see Yosemite, so I didn't stay the whole time. But I felt very much looking back, it felt like going to some sort of like Tony Robbins type event, but like a lower scale. And I didn't learn a lot. Like I went and you almost expect, like, I've been to a lot of conferences because I have worked in higher education, and there are a lot of like academic conferences that you go to. And when I go to those, it's like these sessions where you're learning a skill or you're learning a new technique that they're using at a different university. And so you can actually take what you're learning and implement that.
Yeah.
And then I went to this, I'm like expecting that, yeah, there'll be motivation, but you'll learn like how to actually make your business work. Like tools of how to sell things, or like actual hard skills. And I didn't get any of that. Like I didn't get any hard skills on how to actually move my business forward, and some of like dream big and like these bigger ideas. And so that felt more my speed. But even like looking back on it now, I went to an event for that too, and I still didn't learn any skills of how to actually succeed in the business. It was very much like people telling their story of how they were successful, but it was all mindset. And like basically saying, if you think it this way, then you'll achieve it. But there wasn't they would say you needed to take action, but they wouldn't say what action do you need to take? What needs to actually happen in order for you to be successful? Oh, you should try these ads out, but everybody gets different results. I'm doing the exact same thing as this other person and they're seeing results and I'm not. And then they would say, oh, well, that's a mindset thing. So you need to fix something within yourself. You're at fault if the business structure doesn't work for you. So that was my experience. And I think when I was in it, I had blinders on, because you're taught to look only to people who have what you want. You're taught only to look at the people who are successful and only listen to their advice, which drowns out the voices of your loved ones, your relationships. And people tell you, well, if they don't support you, then you can't listen to them. And it's like, well, maybe they have something that is of value to say. And it's only now that I can recognize some of those things, now that I've kind of displaced myself from that world, because it is a world. It's a very isolating experience.
Hard is that they would teach you all these things, but I didn't teach you anything, and I'm like, how can I actually tangibly make this work? And I just didn't know how. And it's crazy. I've never ever been to one of them conferences, but I can just imagine when it's kind of by the atmosphere and the kind of things how they're doing it. So that's really insightful. And yeah, so what do you kind of feel you wish you did differently if you could go back? I guess I know you probably have no regrets, but
The only thing I do regret is that I know that I damaged relationships and I hurt people, and that kills me, because that's not the person that I am. And I know, like, there's a specific relationship that I think of, that I went to, like, I met this woman when I was in my master's degree, and she joined the business with me, the second one, which was a much higher investment. It's a much higher price point to invest in. And she won't talk to me, and that I understand why. Like, and that's the thing, is I don't resent her, or I'm not upset that she won't speak to me, because I get it. And I've apologized and said, like, now recently, because I'm really now just understanding all of what went into me being drawn in to and being recruited into multi-level marketing or direct sales or network marketing. They're all the same thing. It's really upsetting to me that I drew somebody else in that way, and that I impacted their life in that way, in a negative way, because I've never wanted that. I got into the business because I thought that I was going to be helping people, and that I would be helping them with my health journey, and that it would be benefiting their life. And so my intention, of course, was never to hurt somebody, but I know that I did. I learned so much about myself, what I want, what I don't want, who I can help. Like, I am so, so dedicated to helping other women who are disillusioned from their network marketing and helping them to see a path that's different, that they can get everything that they wanted from that experience, but in a way that feels even more fulfilling and purposeful for them.
Recruited her, essentially. You weren't like separately doing it.
No, I recruited her. She was a part of my like downline, my team. And so that I'm the reason that she got into it in the first place. And that I think that's a lot of the reason why a lot of people won't talk about, like, they'll leave multi-level marketing very quietly and will never talk about it because there's a lot of shame involved, there's a lot of regret involved, and there's a lot of pain involved. And I think people don't talk about that. And so that's I think a big piece of why nobody knows about what happens, because nobody talks about it. And so I want to be able to talk about it, but also just acknowledge, like, I made mistakes and I regret them. I regret that specifically. Everything else, it affects me, and that's okay. But the impact it has on other people, that's what sucks. Relationship is a zillion times better now than it was when I was doing that. I've made more money, which is what they promised. I've made so much more money doing what I love to do and actually feeling like I'm helping people instead of feeling like I have to claw my way to success. Like, they had this, like, you have to be aligned and like things will fall. It's like, I still felt like I had to like grasp at people in order, and all my relationships were commercialized. Like, all my relationships were like, how can I make money from you? Which is not me. That's not me. It's not. And so for me now, it can be, I was taught sales had to be manipulative. And now I'm unlearning that and being like, okay, if I have something that's going to help you and you feel like it's going to help you, awesome. It's almost like I'm at a bar and I'm like trying to force you to go home with me or something. Like, like, no, alignment is not trying to force it or trying to be like, it's your time. Like, this is all the things are lining up for you. It's like, no, just be yourself. Figure out what's in here that's you, what's actually you, because a lot of the stuff I grew up with and a lot of the stuff I learned in network marketing was not me. A lot more upfront work when you're doing something for yourself, for sure, because you're creating it. But when it feels right, it's fun. And when it's fun, it's easy, even if it's hard work.
Yeah. But yeah, I've just like got way more into alignment since just getting out of that space. Like, it was the most honestly one of the hardest things I've ever put myself through. I've never ever felt so bad in my life, apart from like some other experiences, but like this was top up there with like the worst experiences of my life.
Like, granted, my experience was just different, and I think I felt worse later, like when I realized what I had been a part of. And granted, there were a lot of ups and downs because it was mostly relationship based. I had a lot of like this, and I'm a person who's very much, let's keep things stable and not have drama, and let's just have really communicative relationships, and we'll all just be really happy. And that's not what the world of network marketing is. It like preaches that it's all about supporting one another, but it's not. And so, yeah, and it's not you. Like, it's not not your fault. It's the way that it's built. And so, yeah, once I I fully left, I was like, there's just like a weight. It was scary. I don't want to take that away from anyone. Leaving is probably one of the scariest things ever, because people tell you a lot of bad things happen to you when you leave, or you're told the only way you fail is if you quit, over and over again. It's repeated. And you lose the people who you thought were your friends in that business. Other side, like you and I met because of this. And so you have to push through that fear to leave, but trust me, the other side is so much better. Like there's so much.
All the promises they say was do what you think is right. And in that moment, I was having so much resistance. I was like breaking down every single day. I'm like, no, this is not feeling good at all on any kind of level. So
Yep. And then once you like pull that trigger, maybe not the next day, you don't necessarily feel great because you're like, oh shoot, what did I do? But later on, like give yourself, this is what I would say for anybody who is feeling like they might want to do something different or feeling a bit disillusioned. Especially if this is a social media based business, which basically all of them are now, take time away. Give yourself a week, 2 weeks, get off of social media. Do not engage with the people who are in that network marketing company, and surround yourself with people who are loving and supportive of you, whether that be parents, like your partner, whatever it is, and just take time away, because that will give you clarity on what you actually want. Because that's the thing, is when you're inundated by it, you're getting all these messages of what's going to happen to you if you leave, or what's going to happen as soon as you leave. Like you're going to miss out on all the people who are going to join you. Get out of that and spend some time just with yourself, because the truth for you is going to be in here.
Hands down, mic drop. I hope this reaches many people. Yeah, thank you so much for like being so open about it. Like even me personally, I was not going to speak out about it either. Like there is so much shame involved, like there is, and so I'm so glad that you've like taken the time to like speak out about your experiences and everything that happened. I think that's amazing.
Thank you, Georgia. Thank you for creating the space to do that.
You're welcome.
Are going to continue to succeed, and the other people are not. They're set up for failure. Like the new people coming in that are like interested in trying, like they'll see to be attracted to people that are already doing crazy exotic things.
Yeah.
And the whole idea of Enagic and the business is to help people start and get out of their 9-to-5 and then do those crazy things. But people are going to be attracted to the people that are already doing those crazy things. So then the people that are working the 9-to-5 are going to get looked over, and they're not going to get any leads.
Yeah.
They're just going to look, oh, that person's still at home working 9-to-5 and doing this as a side gig. Like they're not, they're not succeeding yet. So then the new leads are just going to look over them and go straight to the other people.
That's true. Otherwise, you can kind of lie about like how your life is looking to kind of attract those leads, which is very dangerous.
I've just gotten back from 3 months in Thailand, and I just knew that travel was what I wanted to do. I knew that I wanted to like live and work overseas. I want to just have the freedom. And it took me months. Like I started looking in like November for an online opportunity. And it took me, I met a bunch of people in Enagic through just like swiping up on their ads.
I recommend don't mentioning any names apart from like the
Yeah.
I would say it would take me ages to edit out all the names.
Most jobs only give you 2 weeks of the year to travel. Like that's not enough time for me to do what I want to do. And so I started looking online, started swiping up on ads, and a lot of them were Enagic based. And they just all felt weird, creepy, like they just weren't the vibe that I was looking for. And then I met one person who I just like clicked with, and I was like, she's genuine, she's great. And I was like, okay, I can do this. Like she can do it, I can do it. And it took me still like 3 or 4 months of talking to her before I finally was like, all right, I'm doing this. And during lockdown, I was like, I have all the time in the world. Like I can do this. I have time to focus, sit down and do it. So then that's when I decided to invest and become one of the Enagic family.
Best for the product or for the business?
The business.
Okay. How much did you invest?
I did the K8, so just the 5,000.
Just 5,000.
Yeah. Yeah, but I did one of the payment plans. So I paid like almost 2,000 upfront, and then it's 180 every month.
What has your kind of whole experience been with network marketing? Like the real and raw like experience?
Not good. It's a lot harder than they make it seem. You already, to start from nothing and build your way is super hard in today's, like, in society. Like, if you don't already have thousands of followers, it's hard to build your way up to thousands of followers. And it's definitely really hard if you're a genuine person. If you're authentic, you're getting nothing. Like, the fake people are the ones that are getting all of the love and attention.
Wow.
They're like playing a different role than what they really are.
That's so toxic. Like literally everyone needs to know that it's like fake.
That there are a lot of other ways to make money online, or I kind of just wish I would have waited a little longer to see all of the different opportunities, which I mean, I did wait like 6 months to see every opportunity that was out there. And I did it while still in college. So I had work, college, and Enagic to focus on. And I just kind of wish I would have waited longer to invest in something after I'd gotten like the mindset, graduated from college, and had the time to do what I wanted to do. Which I know they say there's never going to be a right time, but I definitely wish I would have like matured a little bit more and waited another few months or even a year, and decided what I really wanted.
Yeah, that would have been really smart. And like even if after a year you thought like, yeah, maybe this is the thing, then maybe you would have gone for it anyway. I think I personally would have gone for it anyway, because they sell it so well. Who promotes it? Do you have van life? And I'm like, why'd you put this thing?
Yeah, unless you're doing one that's like a $70,000+ van, you don't have the plumbing and the electricity to power it and have water run through it. Full-time traveling, take it. You don't. So there's another like scammy thing. Like, oh, we're gonna promote this water and then we're gonna full-time travel. But how do you full-time travel and drink the water? You don't.
You don't? You don't? I tried traveling with the water. Honestly, I tried it. It's such a pain in the butt.
Yeah, like you gotta find a sink, hook it up, and hooking it up like takes
Oh my
a
God.
while.
It takes so long because every single tap's different. And it's like,
Yeah.
this is going to work. This isn't working. This isn't working right. Let's just forget it.
And I was like, what? I'm not gonna spend $3 a day. That's like $900 a
$3 a day is like nothing. Like if you
yeah.
want to scale a Facebook ad, it takes thousands. Like I know that now. Like it takes so much to actually get Facebook ads to work.
Yeah. So I was like, if I do like a $3 day and I get that's 900 a month for me to get potentially what, seven leads? No.
This is Editing Georgia, and I didn't catch it in the video Zoom, but at this point in the interview, she had just said that she was going to try and make some more sales, or she hasn't made any sales, but to make a sale, and I basically just questioned her about it just to set the context because it wasn't included.
Like could that
I mean, the money, like it didn't financially burden me.
Yeah, but what if it could financially burden someone else? Because it financially burdened me for sure.
You're right.
I'm just seeing it from two sides of like,
yeah,
you know, you feel like you're wasting your money, like you spent all this money into it, but like what happens if someone else loses out on their money and doesn't make it work? Like, what's your mindset behind like trying again?
Selfish. Exactly what you're saying. Like every other person is selfish.
Oh, yikes.
So,
Yeah.
like, you now you're saying that, like, financially burdening someone else. Like, yeah, I didn't like get financially burdened. I got like $2,000, and then that next day I invested. Like, I just like got $2,000 because of like COVID relief funds and whatnot. Definitely something that I think needs to be like shared more
Yeah.
with everyone, because they make it seem like it's a you're gonna spend this money and then you're gonna make it back automatically and then you're gonna make more. No. So definitely like money to fall back on, money to like have, and that's they just like are such good pushers of the fact that, oh, you're gonna make so much money so quick, everything you just spent you're gonna get back. This year, like so many people are like, don't do it, don't do it. And I was like, but it's different, but it's different. The connections I've made. I've not met any of the people in person, but I have made like connections with you, connections with like another girl that she's got van life and we're gonna van life together, like connections in Australia, connections in England and Germany, and like that's just one great thing that has come from
I
it.
don't know. Did you find it annoying to see my content?
At the time that you and I invested like not even a month before you did.
Really?
Yeah. I had followed a bunch of Enagic people. I was trying to get inspiration from them, trying to find my own passion, like find my own drive and my own creativity. So I was just seeing a lot of the same thing over and over and over again. And you were just one of the mix for me.
That's interesting to hear, and I agree. Honestly, when I was posting that content, it felt really bad. Like I just felt myself being so annoying, and I felt so many people unfollowed me, and like some people don't even talk to you to this day because they found it like so annoying and pushy, and they're like, "Can you stop posting about this?"
There's so many resources that you get after you invest.
So many. That's another thing they kind of sell is like you're going to get access to this, the WhatsApp groups, the Facebook group, and it's kind of making you feel like you're being left out if you don't invest.
Exactly. Like like our individual team group chat. Like I didn't know that existed until after I invested. Like I wish that like there was a group chat of like, here's really strong leads, here's people that I really want to invest. Let's have put them in this chat with people that are already invested so they can get a feel for what's going on and see like the exact things to do before they invest. It's a invest and then we'll show you the goods, which I also think is wrong. People should know exactly what to expect.
This is such a bold move, but it's a good move that needs to get out there.
Yeah, thank you. It is really scary because, like, I don't even want to admit that I did something wrong. It's just like I just want to ignore the fact that that was part of my journey, I guess. And multiple actually. But what was your mindset when you saw this opportunity or the multiple opportunities that you saw?
My first mindset was it was different. It was something unique, and I've never seen anything like it before at the time. And over time, my mindset shifted. But when I first started, it was this will get me money that I don't have to go anywhere. I can stay at home. I can talk to my friends. It'll get me the income that I'm looking for. And over time, that easily shifted to a get rich quick scheme, and it was not a good thing whatsoever.
Yeah, but initially, like, you thought it was good. I know I did. Initially, you were like,
Initially,
this is
yeah, I
okay.
thought it was the best thing ever. It's like now that I look back on it, it's really not.
Yeah. And so what was like your situation before you invested? Like I'm not sure how much overall you invested into network marketing, but like what was your situation before?
When I first started, I just got home from school because of the pandemic, because everything got shut down, so I had to move back home. And I was sick and tired of sitting at home doing absolutely nothing. And when I first started, I wanted to get into health and fitness a little bit more at the time. And that's when the very first opportunity came into play. And at the time, it matched exactly what I was looking for. But over time, that switched and it wasn't working out the way that I wanted it to. So I ended up quitting that one and joining other ones, and it was just a disaster overall.
You see an opportunity, you're like, no, this is the one. And then like, no, this is the one. This is the one that's actually aligned. This is the one that's actually going to change my life. And it's like a spiral. I found that it's quite a spiral.
Exactly. It is a spiral, and it is such a bad spiral to get into.
Yeah. So what has your like experience been, I guess, like mentally, physically, emotionally?
Mentor was great at the very first opportunity. We actually went to school together in high school. So it was nice to have somebody that I knew and I trusted, and I followed in her footsteps, did everything possible. And about 5 months into the first one is when things started to go downhill. It wasn't working the way I wanted it to, so I started to self-sabotage myself, and my mental health just got drained. I was putting in so much effort and time and was not seeing the results that I was hoping for. And now, having been gone through 4 different MLM companies, it is such a disaster. I am so happy to actually be out in the regular workforce with a steady paycheck and actually doing something I enjoy. It is making me so much more happy than any of the MLMs did.
Yeah, because I mean, we were talking last night, and your mindset around 9 to 5s like shifted with these schemes. I found like in my personal experience, they say, "Oh my gosh, like never get a 9 to 5. Like you are an absolute like a demon if you get a 9 to 5. It's like the worst thing you could do for your life." So how come that like shifted? Like how come you got out of that mindset?
Of them worked out the way I wanted them to. My mom was like, you need a steady paycheck. You have bills, you're an adult now, you have expenses, you need a steady paycheck to make sure that you actually live your life and pay everything that you need to pay. Getting a paycheck is so much easier than anything that you could do online.
When you said that you were working harder at your real job, I gotta disagree because I think you were working and I was working so hard. Like honestly, 24/7. I would not stop thinking about this and how I haven't made a sale and like everything. I feel like it's like a toll on your mental and physical health way more. You're working so much harder than you would a normal job, and you're not even getting paid for it.
Exactly, yeah, it was so tough.
Yeah. What do you like wish you could tell your younger self, or not even your younger self, but like you like last year when you saw this best opportunity of like you can make so much money and fulfill your dreams?
If you see something online or if you see something that you think is good, do your research first and make sure that it is legit. And if it is something that you want to do, I've made so many friends who are at like the top tiers and the MLM companies, and it's working amazing for you. Like I am not doubting them whatsoever. They put in their time, they put in their effort, and it worked out for them. But it is not for everybody. If you want to try it, give it a trial and error, go ahead, but don't invest as much money as I probably did. I probably could have done with a lot less money invested first
Yeah.
and went from there. And if it actually did work out, then invest a little bit more money. But I have to say, I do regret some things, but at the same time, when we were talking last night, you mentioned not to regret it because it has made me who I am today, and that has been on my mind a lot. And it has made me who I am today. It's changed me. It's a learning experience, learning curves, and now I know what works, what doesn't work, and I know the reality of life now, and that social media is not always real in what you see. I'm trying to take your advice and just live life, but at the same time, all of our conversations and everything are going through my mind, and it's changing me just from them going back and forth in my mind. And I actually enjoy it so much. I'm so thankful for that.
Oh my gosh, like you're so welcome. Like this is exactly why I'm doing what I'm doing, because the way you were talking last night, I probably won't even put this into the episode, but like the way you were talking last night, it honestly just broke my heart, because I was in exact same mindset position. It's like, it's not your fault. Like, you haven't failed. These MLMs, they're designed to make you fail. Yeah. How much money did you invest altogether, if you don't mind me asking?
Altogether, with the 4 different MLMs, it was probably around 10,000, maybe a little bit more,
Wow.
over the span of not even a year.
Jesus. And is that including like all the books and the courses and the platforms?
No, that is just products. These people with all of these ads being like, I started traveling full time at so and so age. It's like, but you really haven't. That's just a way to get those people back into the business.
It's actually scary how they can lie.
It is.
Like, the fact that people are lying is scary. And I don't think I ever lied on my Instagram. I don't think I ever lied, but like, to see other people lying, it's like, stop. I think I posted probably like 12 times a day, every day for about 6 months. I still do, actually. I still post a lot. But it's a lot of like, people just get annoyed of like the same Kangen stuff.
I worked with Forever Living, and I never hit a single promotion, but I basically lived and breathed the products and everything. I spent all day I still to this day have people who will not accept my friend request on Facebook, because like, who I was really close with growing up, because I was so like, oh, you know, I do network marketing, I'm an entrepreneur, but you know, it's just not as good as they make it out to be. Definitely not as good as they make it out to be.
No. And how much did you invest into your network marketing?
So to start, I paid £200. But then I ended up spending more on the products than I earned, like throughout my. I worked with them for about 3 or 4 years, but I literally never hit a single promotion, because to hit your first promotion, you need to do 25 case credits, over 2 consecutive months. Which the case credits, it's like an internal currency. I don't know if other companies do that. It's like a company currency, because obviously it's a global company. So instead of like talking to your team and being like, I did this many dollars or this many pounds, it just helps without, you know, the currency conversion. That's like your own case credits and your team's case credits. But yeah, you had to do 25, and you had to do 4 case credits to earn off your team as well. So, and 4 case credits is about £300 if I remember correctly. So yeah, 25 over 2 months is like quite a lot to hit. Yeah, especially when the products are so expensive.
That's so confusing. What are they doing?
Yeah. It's pretty complicated. I mean, once you're in it, you understand it more, but it is complicated when you're trying to get your head around it at first.
Yeah, like, who's creating these, like, how people creating these like things is crazy.
I don't know. They made it sound as if it's so easy to hit the targets, but it's just not. I know of a woman who worked with Forever Living around the same amount of time as I did, and she never hit a single promotion, but then she moved to a different, I don't know which one, but she flew to the top of the, you know, it really do. I think it does also depend on what company you're with and if it fits you as a person, really.
Yeah, we were about to say flew to the top of the pyramid.
Yeah, basically, yeah. I probably shouldn't have said that, but it's not a pyramid.
It's true.
Yeah. I'm sick of hearing the whole, it's not a pyramid scheme. Pyramid schemes are illegal. Yeah, okay, but it's still a pyramid. I'm grateful for working with Forever Living based on the mindset stuff that I learned with them. However, I wish I didn't spend so much time just working on it when I didn't achieve enough. You know, there was no point in me spending that much time. It's like I wasted like 4 years of my life, really. Because, you know, 3 or 4 years, suddenly, I'm not sure how long I worked with them. It was somewhere between 3 and 5 years. Yeah, I don't know.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Like.
Yeah. Yeah, it's an absolute joke how long because people kept saying just keep trying, you'll get, you know, you'll
keep trying, you'll succeed. You only fail if you give
up.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the thing that really annoyed me about network marketing was if you weren't seeing results, they blamed it on your lack of consistency. you know, you mustn't be doing this, you mustn't be doing that. But I was doing that. I was literally living and breathing the business and the products.
Yeah.
I used to go up to people in public and, you know, do contact marketing, talking to people in public. Like, if I heard people saying, oh, I really need a job, I'd be like, hey, I've got an opportunity for you.
Yeah, I feel like it's like so.
Don't ever do that, it's embarrassing.
Yeah, it's like every single person who's in there in marketing, honestly, just tell everybody. It's like, this is
Yeah,
the best thing ever. And then people find you so annoying.
yeah.
I get
Oh
you.
my God, yeah.
I had so many unfollowers because it's just like, why
Yeah.
are you doing this? It's so annoying.
Yeah, exactly. Like I say, I've got people who I literally grew up with and I was really close with, like when I was growing up, but now they won't even accept my friend request. I've not worked with Forever Living now for 2 years. I quit like 2 years ago, and they still won't accept my friend request anymore.
And now I know what business is, I'm going to get on to the facts.
I can just read them out to you.
Yeah, so if you could like say what you were told and then what the facts are.
Yeah, absolutely. So what I was told, and this is going off of my second stint in network marketing, the second business. So I was told in the marketing that this is not a multi-level marketing opportunity. This is not an MLM. And the fact is that an MLM is a business structure or practice in which an individual seller earns commissions both from direct sales and from the sales of the seller's recruits and of those recruited by the seller's recruits, and so on. So it was absolutely an MLM. I was led to believe, this is what I was told, what I was told. I was led to believe that the Direct Sales Association was a badge of honor for the company and proof that it was not an MLM. And the fact is that the Direct Selling Association, or DSA, is a lobbying organization for MLMs, which promotes and defends its MLM members, one and all, in court, on Capitol Hill, and in the media. So, for example, Tupperware, which is an actual direct sales company because it's not based on recruitment, left the Direct Selling Association because it's of the way that company, or the way that association was moving forward. Another thing that I was told, so I was told that company has an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau. And the fact is that the USA headquarters for that company is not accredited by the Better Business Bureau and is listed as having a D rating. That's currently, I don't know what it was when I was recruited, but that's what it is right now. I was also told that there's no auto ship or subscription fees for the company. And the fact is, and you really only learn this once you've bought in, is that I had to pay $776.33 every 4 months for supplements, or I would risk my commissions being cut in half, and I wouldn't receive any commissions for my downline selling those supplements. So you really, in order to make full use of the compensation plan, you do have to have a subscription, and it's going to cost you almost $800 every 4 months. And the last thing that I was told was you can make large profits just selling the products to people for their health. And the reality is 5K and 10K months that they talk about when you're being recruited, you have to recruit a team underneath you. You would have to. So the making large profits just by helping people with their health really wasn't an option if you wanted to reach the higher levels in that company.
Wow. I was in the same company as you, and I had no idea that they had lied about that. I'm mind blown. Oh my gosh, how are they getting away with this?
And it's more a lie of omission, or
not telling
the whole truth, because there were things that I was taught to say in a specific way that was enticing.
Yeah.
Because it's based on, this is the thing that really gets me, is that it's not a direct sales company, or it is if you're using it synonymously with MLM or with network marketing, because your business relies on the recruitment of other people, not on the sales of those products. And when you look at it, a lot of the sales that are being made are within the sellers, are within the distributors, because they're the ones, like, your upline gets paid when you continue to buy your supplements. And then there's also incentives throughout that payment plan to buy another machine, to buy another thing of supplements. And so the money is being distributed through distributors buying more.
You're paying each other.
Yeah, you're paying each other, essentially. And then the other piece of how you make money is by recruiting other people, not necessarily the focus is not on selling machines, it's on recruiting people. And so that's where there's an issue there, because you're not just selling products to help people's health. Like I thought I was just going to be like trying to help people, and that's not what I was doing.
No.
So
yeah.
So it's deceptive recruitment.
Yeah.
The FTC filed a don't quote me on this, but the FTC essentially filed there was a case against Amway, and the CEO of Amway was Richard DeVos. And if you know, Betsy DeVos was the Secretary of Education during the Trump era. Trump has also put forth many MLMs. Oh yeah, he's supported quite a few of them. But Richard DeVos is the father-in-law of Betsy DeVos. And so Richard DeVos had ties with the president. He was, I want to say he was the president of the Chamber of Commerce at the time that Amway was going through the trial. So I can't remember if he was president or just like a big part of the Chamber of Commerce, but the Chamber of Commerce is a lobbying organization. It's not actually a government agency. So the Chamber of Commerce has really big ties with political campaigns because they're a lobbying organization for the government, but they're not a government agency. And so there's no way that the Federal Trade Commission was going to shut down Amway when Richard DeVos had he's the CEO of Amway and has ties to like government figures. There's no way they're going to shut that down. And so when the trial went through with Amway and they didn't put all of these regulations on MLMs and network marketing companies, which when Betsy DeVos was in office was also trying to create even less restrictions on them, it made it so that all of these other network marketing opportunities could pop up. Like it really was okay, nobody's going to regulate us, so we can just do what we want. And so that's what opened up a lot of that history there. And so there's all of these cases that kind of show how these have been left to kind of run by their own rules, and nobody is regulating them in the way that they should be. And so MLMs are one of the only types of companies that don't have to show what your potential profits could be when you start a business, what people's losses are, what their net gains are. So like there's all these things, like I can't go look up any of the companies that I worked for and see what the average payout for each person is. And it's one of the only companies that you can do that.
Yeah, that's insane. But I think one called New Skin have released all of their kind of pay checks. I don't know what you call them, like what's it called?
Like the pay stubs?
Yeah, like
commission checks.
No, not commissions, but like all of their finances they've released. But you have to dig in the internet to find it. But you can.
And it's interesting because it probably doesn't say how much is it that the distributors are buying versus how much did they actually sell to just customers. Because there's so many people who buy into think of like sunk cost fallacy. You've already invested like a certain amount of money into something. You're probably going to double down and spend even more because you have to make it work. And so I've know stories of people who have gone into companies and are $20,000 in debt because they bought product to try and keep up with what they needed to get each month, but really weren't getting paid anything. So they're now $20,000 in debt, but it doesn't say that because that was a profit for the business.
Yeah.
Because they bought it, or they bought it under the names of other like people who were their customers and had it sent and shipped to them and they paid for it. So there's all of these things that aren't regulated that we don't know about when we get started in an MLM. We see them everywhere. We see our family, our friends on Facebook, on Instagram are selling these different things, and we're like, oh, well, I'd rather buy it from someone I know than from a company. But there's all these things we just don't know about what's underneath. And so that's, I think, some of the stuff that needs to be exposed and talked about, because people can like come at me and say like you're wrong or whatever, but it's a little bit of research. Like, and that's like, I have a research degree. That's what I'm going to be doing, is like, I want to know what the truth is. And so I can't believe anything at face value that someone just tells me. I want to actually like look into those cases and be like, okay, what did the FTC approve of and why did they approve it? So it's just interesting.
Yeah. What makes a real business? Like, let's just lay the ground foundations here. What makes a business? You own the IP, which means the branding is yours or your company's, a limited company, etc. You own the design assets, the copyrights, and the trademarks. You have the authority to make decisions on behalf of the company, the operations, such as the structure, the shares, and make decisions around the marketing, the product, the finance, the branding, the PR, customer experience, everything. You have control over it. Another one is you have the autonomy to be able to scale and sell the business or exit the business. And yeah, you're also seen by the law and service providers as an actual business in terms of tax, business loans, investment, advertising. That's kind of what makes a real business. That's a few foundations. So with an MLM, how is an MLM different, and why does people who say trying to sell you an MLM, like you're an entrepreneur, you can create your own business, you can create your own, this kind of, you're an entrepreneur if you have an MLM business, I guess. So what makes an MLM not your business is you don't own anything. You don't own the business, the IP, the products, the brand, and you actually work for someone else. The corporation controls your income and the company. You don't work for yourself. You're promoting these products on behalf of a company. The thing is, you have to pay to get the job. You are a salesperson. Often you have to pay up front. Sometimes you don't, but you are a salesperson for the corporation and that you do not own. And the last one is you are legally considered an independent contractor, distributor. You are not a business, and no one kind of sees you as one. You're not the government doesn't see you as a business for business loans or social media companies for ads or the tax office. You are an independent contractor or sole trader. So that's kind of the difference between a real business and an MLM business. Hope that makes sense. And so some facts also is TikTok has banned any sort of MLM promotion. I'm linking everything, all my kind of, if I'm stating studies and statistics and facts, I will link all the sources down below. My God, that really took out. If I had put all that money into the business that I have now, that I put into Enagic and Monat, I could have made a real big start into my actual entrepreneurship journey. And I just thought there was no other way. I really thought there was no other way. And how amazing would it be for all these people who put all their effort, all their time and energy and money into these MLMs, into a real business, and went out there and made a real difference. And it would just be amazing for the economy, and it would be really, really innovative. You need to ask yourself these questions before joining an MLM. Do you want to be a salesperson? Do you have a sales plan? Can you afford to risk time and money? And you also need to research the company, research what people are saying, both sides of the story, and you need to understand the costs and the refund policy, everything like that. And if you're thinking maybe an MLM is not for me, some things you can do are have your own business if that's what you're interested in, is e-commerce, writing, being an author, finding a problem and solving it. Finding a problem, a gap in the market and solving it. You can have a service-based business like beauty services, cooking, baking services, gardening, designing, yoga, spirituality, tutoring, getting a job getting a job for experience, something you're interested in. Maybe you want a business, but maybe it's not the right time to have a business. Like maybe you need to get some more experience. Maybe you need to find out what you're really interested in, what you're really passionate about, and then maybe it's time for a business. You know, like as much as I wanted to think that I wanted a business last year, it wasn't the right time. It was not the right time. Oh my gosh, it's really hard for me to admit, because like my ego is saying like anyone can have a business at any time in their life, but it's not the truth. I should not have done it, really should not have done it, but you know, no regrets. It has served a purpose. And a 2018 AARP survey found that why can I not talk? I feel like I've been talking for so long, my mouth is like barely moving. 73% of MLM participants lost their money or made nothing. And an MLM company called Young Living, which is an essential oils MLM, nearly all sellers for Young Living, company founded by Gary Young, earn just $4 a year, says Business Insider. That's insane. $4 a year? Are you kidding me? And researchers also found that 99.6% of all sellers lose money instead of earning it. That's a great business, you know. It's a great business. A 2018 independent consultant compensation summary revealed that out of 21,000 independent consultants in the UK, only 12% made money every month, which is 2,600 out of 18,400 who made nothing. The FTC said that two recent and unrelated studies both found that 99% of people who join MLMs ultimately lose money, which is kind of like the same sort of thing that other researchers found. And again, according to the FTC, estimate of 50% of MLM recruiters will drop out in the first year because they see no success in hopefully able to minimize their losses as a result of kind of dropping out, because the longer you stay in an MLM where it's not working, often you'll pay more and more and more and more and more into the business to try and rank up faster, to try and, you know, it's crazy, man. So some of the propaganda that you may have come across is they say all companies are pyramid schemes. You know, you have the employees, you have the managing directors, you have the managers, you have the boss, you have the CEO. It's like a pyramid thing, right? Because every job's a pyramid. You get to spend more time with your friends and your family. If you fail, it's your own fault. Obviously, it's your own fault, guys. If you join an MLM, it's your fault if you fail. Your why isn't strong enough. Obviously, a why is so important. You have no idea. Like, if you're creating a business, your why is really, really important to the business, because it's that thing you're going to come back to when you feel like you're failing. I have a why for Rising Above Co. It's just important to have a why. But clearly, if you're failing in an MLM, your why isn't strong enough. If you have a 9-to-5, you're literally like, you're not good enough. If you have a 9-to-5, like, a job makes you broke. A job is a job, makes you just over broke. They say you're an entrepreneur, you're a business owner. You can live your life on holiday with people you meet for life. I mean, friends you meet for life. You can retire in your 20s, you can retire in your 30s. This product changes your life. Those are some facts. I should probably stop recording now. Last year I joined an MLM, and that's where my journey began, and it ended last December, but I still managed to lose £7,000. And this is my story. I don't want to speak ill of the people who are in my team, who are in MLMs, because what they think they're doing is right, and sometimes what they're doing is right. As in, if you're selling the product for the product, that is totally fine, I think. But if you're selling the business as the product as the business, that's where it doesn't sit well. After hearing what I have to say, it's your decision to make. And if you're curious or considering it, I would highly recommend checking out the links below and researching the company that you're considering to join. I just want to spread awareness around this. I want to make everybody aware of what an MLM is, the fact it's not your own business. You're not an entrepreneur. Or are you? You are not a business owner if you're part of an MLM. There's definitely lies, twists of the truth that they say with these MLMs, but yeah, this is my experience. Not blaming anybody for what happened to me. I feel like it's something that I needed to go through. So I hope that this video, or if you're listening on this podcast, has been insightful and you've learned something, or just for entertainment purposes. It's very, very, very interesting. I find it very interesting to look into this. Even though I've been hugely emotionally and physically affected by it, I still find it very, very interesting to look into it. And to see like where it's coming from, how people's minds can be just kind of consumed by it and feed into the lies. I just find it really interesting. I just find it really interesting to kind of research and look at all the facts, and then look at all the sides of the story and weigh it up, and just see like where people are coming from when they create these MLMs and the distributors. I just find it really fascinating of it all. Like, there are a lot of things that I could say, but I don't want to say because it's opinion, and I don't want to say a lot of my opinions because it can be used very negatively against me. And yeah, I'm just trying to keep my opinions out of it and just kind of give you the facts of what happened and my experience, the facts. I'm not saying MLMs are bad, MLMs are good. I'm just giving you my experience, the facts, and yeah. So I hope you've enjoyed this extra long video or extra long podcast. If you've seen the podcast, listen to the podcast. If you want to see some screenshots, some photos, I have included that in some of the in the video. So take a look at the YouTube video, which is, my channel's called Georgia Peck, and you can take a look there. But I feel like it's kind of bad to end it in the way of like, make it your mission to do something kind for you today. But I'm gonna say it anyway, and I just did. So make it your mission to do something kind for you today, and I shall see you in my next video or on my next podcast. Bye. Remember, take everything with a pinch of salt and don't believe everything you see online. I now have a proper business. I now know what a business is, I know what real marketing is, and hopefully I know I'm gonna succeed in it. Yeah, check everything will be in the description in terms of links, where to kind of get some information, the sources that I got for the facts, and yeah, if anybody needs to reach out to me for help, or you just want to, feel free to, I've got so hot after filming this, feel free to message me on Instagram, reach out and make it your mission to do something kind for you today. God. And yeah, feel free to message me on Instagram if you need help, if you want to talk about something around this topic, if you're not sure if this is an MLM or not. I actually have a list of the MLMs down below to check it out if you need to know if something's an MLM or not, if this is legit, which, I don't know. If someone's trying to tell you something online and saying you need to build a team and recruit, it's quite obvious. But yeah, honestly, my DMs are always open, and the podcast episode will also be down below. And thank you to everybody who is part of this and sharing your story. I really appreciate it. I know how scary it is to put your face online, your opinion online, and how people can possibly attack you for it. yeah, there's always two sides to a story. This is both sides sort of. I tried to make it as both sides. But this is me coming from a background of thinking an MLM was the best thing I could ever do with my life, and it turned out to be one of the worst things to do in my life. Everyone's experience is different, and appreciate that. So yeah, make it your mission to do something kind for you today, and I'll see you in my next video. I'm gonna have a lot of fun enjoying editing this video and the podcast. Bye!